you talk, then pray right now. Don't wait, pray. Many of us, what will happen is that we'll go over there and all of a sudden, because we're so insecure and fearful, that we won't pray right there. I have learned to pray right there. And then the Lord leads me while I'm praying. Number 3, eternal life is not a one-time choice, but rather it's a journey. The rich young ruler ran to Jesus and knelt before him. Now think about it. This is a person that literally was running. He was looking for something different. He was passionate, saying, I know this man has the answer. I am drawn to something in life. Now, he had everything. He was doing all the right things. In fact, we can read that just a minute here. Mark 10:17, and when he was gone forth into the way, there came one running and kneeled to him and asked him, Good master, what shall I do that I may inherit eternal life? What did he do? Eternal life is not a one-time act, people. It's a submission. Everybody say submission. Nobody likes that word. Met a 8-year-old young man here at church last night. Didn't like that word. Already at 8. But rather a heartfelt direction of who will lead your life. See, the rich young ruler had led a good life. He led a great life, in fact. And the journey next step was to let go of his rulership of his life, of his money, his identity. In fact, look at D. What we do or own has a lot to do with our identity or how we feel about ourselves. All right, E. Jesus designed us to find our identity in him, not in what we possess. We know right from here what happened with this rich young ruler. Obviously, it wasn't what he possessed. Look at number 4. This freedom from being measured by the world's standards so appealed to the rich young ruler that he ran to the children's blessing. He wanted something different. Have you ever really literally ran to Jesus and wanted something different? And the minute you did it, I'll never forget when I'm going over. I ran to Jesus, and I remember because I had been seeking him for over a year to get out of the building business when I was builder. And I said, Lord, and I remember because John Bevere told me I couldn't quit until the Lord gave me a release. So over a year, I was seeking the Lord to get that release. And I was praying, and I was going over there. And I can remember the moment God said, you're now released, you can quit. Within one day, he gave me a dream to adopt the girls. I said, Lord, I'll go back to working. That's exactly what I said. I says, that's a lot more work than building homes. I knew the cost. I knew the cost. And what you don't know is I have an adoptive sister that's very wayward. And I was sitting there going, God, what are you going to do to me through this? This is going to hurt more than I can imagine. I do not want to go through this again. And God says, who's the Lord of your life? I says, you are. He says, then let me lead your life. See, God will ask you to go through things that are painful because he wants to be the restorer of your soul. You're not the restorer of your soul. You're not the protector of your soul. He's the protector of your soul. And I was very protective in that area. And many of you got a lot of hurts and wounds from your past. You're the protector of your soul. And the Lord will get you to go through something that's painful so that he can be the restorer of your soul. If you don't believe it, read the book of David. Or actually talk about Samuel, what David went through. David went through hell when abandonment, and God was the restorer of his soul. And what is it David said? You are the restorer of my soul. A, this freedom from the world's or eternal life appealed to him. He wanted it. B, he worked so hard at being good enough. How many of you do that? God, you work so diligent to be good enough in your marriage, so diligent to be good enough in your job, so diligent to be good enough to your daddy, to your mommy, so good enough to be good enough to your pastor, so good enough to be good enough to your God. This guy worked so hard at being good. So hard. And then Jesus asked him to do one thing that he couldn't do. Couldn't give it all away. See, God will ask you to do things that you can't do in your own strength because you have to lean. See, everything that this man did, he did it in his own strength and his own self-control up until this point. Everything that this man did was in his own power. And God asked him to do one thing that he couldn't do in his own power. He'd have to lean on God. Do you realize that we're in that hour, people of God? We are coming to an age right now we're going to come when I believe the church is going to see persecution again. We have had it easy. And you know what? If you're having a hard time serving God now without persecution, how are you going to serve him when it comes? Get it set straight in your heart who you will serve. B, he worked so hard at being good enough. C, the very thing he sought freedom from, his identity of being good enough for eternal life, was found in letting Jesus be the Lord of his life. The rich young ruler, D, when given the choice to let go, would rather hold on to his identity than to give it to Jesus. I heard a story, and I wasn't there, but I know the man who did it. There was 5 wheelchairs back in 1960. I don't know, it's 1961 or 62. This man had a healing ministry. And I've been praying that God would use that in my life. This man had a healing ministry. And there's 5 wheelchairs. He prayed for the 4 people, everyone, all 4 of them to rise up and walk. All 4 of these people rise up and walk. And he came to the 5th one, and this guy had a death grip on that wheelchair. Just gripping it. He says, rise up and walk. He says, but if I do, I got to go back to work. That's what he said. It's not funny. He says, and if I do, I says, that means I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to do things I've never done before. His whole identity was in his handicap. Do you know that I know people that our whole identity is in their handicap? And not just talking about physical handicap. Some people have they've been divorced. And their whole identity is in the wound of that divorce, and that's all they talk about. Some people have been wounded, they've been sexually abused, and there's whole identity. I know of marriages, and they can't hardly have any kind of wonderful sex in their marriage because they're hanging on to a handicap, something that happened that was terrible in their past. Their identity is in the past. Lest we judge that person that's in that wheelchair, be careful. You may be that person that's holding on to that identity. Lest we judge this rich young ruler, are we not just like that rich young ruler, and we hold on to our past and our identity? And E, Jesus loved him. Listen, he loved him, but it was his choice that held him back.
Jesus!
Hey, Kat.
Hey, thanks so much for meeting me here.
No problem. What you got there?
Right, I wanted to give this to you.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Are you serious?
I am very serious.
Well, you know what this means, don't you?
I think so.
Well, whoever sits here gets to make all the decisions.
I know. Sometimes, when I'm sitting here, right, I, end up in these places, and I'm like, how did I get here? Then it, dawns on me, duh, just give it to Jesus, because you know you make all the right decisions.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I wanted to give it to you as a gift.
Wow, I'm honored.
No, I'm honored, really.
Well, I guess I'll just sit down and start making all the decisions.
Yeah, please do. Go ahead. Hey, Jesus.
Yeah.
Whatever you say to do, that's what I want to do, all right?
All right.
Okay?
If that's the way you want it.
That's exactly the way I want it.
Kathleen,
What?
I am so glad I found you.
Oh, hey!
Okay, I've decided. I'm just going to do it.
Do what?
I'm going to get a tattoo.
What?
I know. I am so excited. I'm thinking I'm going to get it right here, and I might do Kendall.
Really? No
yeah,
way.
I know. I am so excited.
Cool. Well, wait. Just a minute. I thought your mom said, no tattoos or anything like that. Did something, change?
No, she's still completely against it, but my mom, she's not very cool, and she basically flips out about everything.
Yeah, right.
So I'm thinking I just need to help her grow a little.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm just going to do it anyway, and, we'll deal with it later, and, who cares if she says no anyway? What I really want to know is, will you go with me?
No.
No?
Why?
No, what I mean is, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have to check my schedule and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, let me see how my week goes, and then I'll let you know, okay?
Okay, all right, I'll see you later.
Yeah, talk to you later.
Kat,
Yeah.
you're kind of making it hard for me to sit here.
Oh, Jesus, you're right. I'm sorry. Look, I was talking to Kendall and stuff, right?
Right.
Well, she wanted me to go with her and get a tattoo. It was so awesome. But then you said no. That was kind of strange to
No,
me.
that was my decision.
Yeah, but it didn't make sense to me.
Well, Kat, you did want me to sit in the seat, right?
Well, yeah, that's why I gave it to you as a gift.
And whoever sits here makes all the decisions.
Well, yeah, I know, of course, but I just don't.
What's the problem?
Well, I didn't see what the problem was with just going with her. I mean, who cares, you know?